Good morning, everyone. A good Tavach, Shavua Tov. We continue here in the Kitzur Shulhan Aruh, and we are in the laws of borrowing, renting, and employment. If a person gave his garment, his clothing, to a tailor, a craftsman, to mend, to fix up for him, the kablonos, and they agreed upon a certain sum. He said, yeah, to hem these pants is going to cost $15. And the tailor brings it back to him during the daytime. Yesh lo zman kol hayom bilvad, so the owner of this clothing has to pay him back during the daytime. Heviya lo b'layla, if the tailor brought it back to him at night, yesh lo zman kol halayla bilvad, then he has to pay him back throughout the night, as we said before. Aval kol zman she'ataz biyad uman. But here's the catch: all the entire time that this clothing is in the hands of the uman, of the craftsman, even though he finished the job, all the work is finished. The owner of this garment did not violate the prohibition of paying on time. Even if his garment, which is now fixed, is by the craftsman for many days after he completed it. Even if the craftsman said, please bring the money and pick up your garment. Nevertheless, he's not over. He doesn't transgress over here the prohibition until he actually receives the garment. Because the halacha over here is, in this case, if we made up a deal that you're going to do the job and then I'm going to pay you when the job is done, so as long as it's still in your hands and you have not given it over to me, so the job has not been completed. And therefore, I'm not obligated at this point yet to pay you. So in that case, it will be a little bit different than the regular worker who does the job and you have to pay him when he finishes the job. Since we made up over here, in this case, how much it's going to be and the job that has to be done. So therefore, you're a kablan, which is a kind of a worker in halacha, and therefore you have to actually bring it to me that I have it in my hands, and then my obligation to pay you begins. Says the Kitzur, the next halacha, you don't violate the prohibition of keeping the workers' wages with you overnight, nor do you have the prohibition of that the sun should not go down, meaning if you had to pay him during the day, you should have paid him already, unless the employee demands money from him. And then the Kitzur adds, and the employer also has the money to be able to pay him. However, if the employee doesn't come and ask for the money, or he does ask for the money, but the employer doesn't have the funds to pay him, then he does not transgress the prohibition over here. Because how can I be responsible to pay you tonight or today if I don't have the money? Nevertheless, says the Kitzur, midas chasidus, it's a midah, an act of great piety. If you don't have the money to pay him back, you should actually borrow money yourself and pay him back at the right time. Because it's very possible that this worker over here is a poor man, and he's depending upon these wages over here. So just because you don't have the money, who says that it makes that it's appropriate for you not to go and try to get it? However, if it's known that you don't pay your workers until after some kind of a cheshbon, some kind of an accounting is made. For example, you always pay the workers at the end of the week or the end of every 2 weeks. You pay them bi-monthly, you pay them only monthly at the end of the month. Even if the worker says, please give me some money, and they're entitled to it because they've been doing their job already, they get paid at the end of the month, but they've been working already 12 days out of the month. So nevertheless, since that the way you set things up with him is that you'll pay him monthly, you don't transgress any prohibitions by not paying him right now. Since everybody knows this is the way that this employer works, he pays by the week, by the month, and so on. Ad das kain niskar etzlam, they hired themselves out. They took the job knowing full well that they only get paid once a month, and therefore they don't have a right to come and be teveya and to claim the money from you anytime before that. Have a wonderful day.